So, I recently dove into this whole Azure Application Gateway encryption thing, to make sure our network traffic is locked down tighter than Fort Knox. Now, the deal with Azure Application Gateway is that it's not just a fancy door to your web applications, it also gives you SSL termination, which means it can handle SSL certificates on your own gear for you. This gets the ball rolling by encrypting data as soon as clients hit the network. You see, when you go about encrypting your end-to-end network traffic with Application Gateway, you are doing it in layers. First off, data gets encrypted at the client side using SSL on your web server. Then it hits the Application Gateway where it comes through SSL termination. But here's the clever part, with Azure Application Gateway, you are able to create an SSL secured connection right out of the gate because it's doing the heavy lifting early, right before anything gets backed up to our internal services. Let me lay out the scene for you. Picture this, our web apps are firing on all cylinders, smooth as butter. But under the hood, there are these packets whizzing across our networks, and what if halfway through the journey, they start to chat about company secrets? Yeah, that's where encryption sizzles in this network stew, acting like the spicy secret sauce that keeps the goodness in and the bad stuff out. First up, we gotta make sure our Azure Application Gateway is set up right, with these rules and policies that tell it what to do with SSL traffic. It's like we're drawing a map for our data, marking all the highways and byways for safe passage. Set up the backend pool because that's where all the action happens, where our services stand tall, patiently waiting for the traffic. And then, let's chat about routing. Here, think of Azure Application Gateway as a diligent mail carrier, deciding if our traffic should go directly to our service, or if it's through this secret passcode, our SSL termination, which happens before it gets to our mailroom, that internal one, where our services are chilling. You'll see that we are not just slapping on SSL certificates to our application gateway. Nope, it's like putting all our traffic through a magical cloak of invisibility. The SSL handshake happens right there at that trusty gateway, and the data, encased in this invisible armor, makes a safe pit stop at our backend services. Now, for the cherry on top, or at least the top on security concerns. There's this fancy thing called HSTS, short for HTTP Strict Transport Security, which you should tick off your checklist. It's like a stern bouncer at the club door, making sure that once our clients learn the VIP pass, represented by the secure connection established at the gateway, no one's backsliding into old, insecure connections, no sir. Setting all this up in Azure is like choreographing this grand ball where application traffic gets to waltz in, get hugged by SSL all at the entrance, and glide directly to our services without any pit stops at less secure ports. It's all about timing, and in Azure Application Gateway, everything's gotta hit the right notes, right down to configuring that SSL binding so our frontends know which internal services need to get the green light and which don't. Don't get me started on the performance aspect, man. With Azure Application Gateway encrypting our traffic end-to-end, all while our frontends are singing this sweet SSL waltz, we are not just keeping our data dance cards safe, we are also making sure they're not tripping over themselves, too, cutting down latency like it's nobody's business. The thing is, when you're taking charge of this grand encryption strategy, it's gotta be tight as a drum, right? Ensuring our SSL certificates are fresh, that they're not playing the old tune from before, because nobody likes to listen to an out-of-date serenade, if you know what I mean. And let me not forget, as we are wrapping ourselves tight in these security layers, we gotta maintain our eyes on that horizon, the business value side of things. All this rigmarole with Azure Application Gateway ain't just for show. It's for securing our network against these digital marauders, stealing through firewalls and worms in the wild. Azure Application Gateway is part of the battle in keeping the peace in the cyberspace savannah, and that's something worth trumpeting, no cap and gowns necessary. So, why take the leap, you ask? And the answer's simple. It's to bring that sense of security and peace into our digital domain. To show the world upfront, hey, we're on to you, cyber sneaks. We mean it when we say we value trust and reliability, and here's how we do it with Azure Application Gateway. Alright, I hope this riff I throw at ya gives you a feel for securing our traffic with Azure Application Gateway. It's a thing of elegance and efficiency, protecting us while we keep our networks slick and smooth. Give it a whirl for yourself, and don't forget, for more deep dives and tech treasures, subscribe at neeraj.qzz.io. Stay savvy.